Good morning. We're up. Today I feel weird. I had intentions of waking up very early, around 6 a.m. Oh, 7, going to the gym, which I hate. I'm starting to hate the gym more and more. I prefer to work maybe exercise outside in a natural element. So the gym, I don't know, I just kind of don't really like it. So it's something I'm struggling with. I'm noticing that, I don't know, I'm struggling with a bunch of different things lately. So, for example, so I wanted to run this morning. I did wake up early. I woke up at 6. But I hate working out in the morning. Some people say that you'll never regret working out, but that's not true. For me, there's been times when I woke up at 5 in the morning or some ridiculous hour to exercise, and it does not, I wish I hadn't done it and I love to work out. Just something for me about the morning time. It's I need to ease into the day. I am not a morning person at all. There's a park up here that I need to check out because I might want to start running in this park. Because the sidewalks are so wet, it kind of makes it almost impossible for me to run right now, especially with all the people. And I don't want to run into people and piss people off, but I think there's a park right there. I'd have to check the map. I'm gonna pass by it and see if it's there. But so I woke up early and I was gonna go to the gym, but the idea of going into the gym at this hour is just so not something I want to do. And I was trying to figure out any way to get over that, but no. The gym is just a very fluorescent, just not a cool place to be honest. It's really not. That's just how I'm feeling lately. I'd honestly much rather go to an open air park or something like that than go to some regular ass gym, especially in the morning. So I wound up just sitting and thinking, okay, well, what do I really want to do? Because I'm not just gonna go back to sleep. So I made myself at least wake up. I was up at 6. So I sat and I stretched a little bit. I meditated a little bit. I read some Russian stuff that I was supposed to read, and I wrote some vocabulary down real quick. And then I got dressed, I washed myself, put on some cologne, which that's one of the things I've been really into lately for now a few years now, is colognes and smells, certain smells. I have my whole own philosophy about smells and colognes. And then once I got all fresh, clean, and dressed, I wound up just laying back down and closing my eye, and I went back to sleep. And I was like, I did not want to run. I did not want to go work out. I wound up just relaxing. I went back to sleep and I did not want to wake up again. So I forgot the word for dreadful. Hudojny? I don't think that's right. I don't know. I'm like in a dreadful mood, and then I start thinking like, is it about something about, because I believe in, it's not that I believe or I don't believe, but you hear about, the position of the planets affect your mood, and intuitively I believe that that's probably true. I'm not gonna say like it is or it isn't, because a pet peeve of mine is when I interact with somebody, ultimately I want to ask them when their birthday is, to at least know their sun sign, because I feel like I get a good idea of who kind of they are based on their sun sign. And the most recent times people are like, oh, I don't believe that, well, it's like, okay, well, it don't really matter whether you believe it or not. I could pretty much get a rough sketch of who you are based on like your sun horoscope. Yesterday, some guy got yelled at for walking on the left side by a lady. So yeah, I'm thinking, man, are the planets in some kind of alignment? Because real astrology is hard to wrap your mind around. It takes a lot of studying actually to really understand the astrology. You need to know to get actual birth chart, and then you need to start studying. Yeah, it takes a lot of studying actually to really understand it. But my friend put me onto that. My friend actually drilled into me astrology, because every time we were talking about somebody, he'd bring it up. He'd say, well, they're a Taurus, they're a Scorpio, they're a Sagittarius, they're this, they're that. And he did it over and over and over and over and over again. And then eventually I was like, well, what the? Like, what? I started asking him, I'm like, well, all right, what's his sign? What does that mean? And he'd be like, well, he's this. That's why he acts like this, and that's why he acts like that. He's like, cause he's this and that. And he did it so many times. And he was pretty much, I mean, you're not gonna get a whole picture of somebody based on their sun sign, obviously. And obviously there's different types of astrology. There's Vedic and there's sidereal or whatever. I don't care if anybody believes it or not. I really don't give a shit. And it doesn't, I mean, this is, you could basically paint a rough picture of somebody if you know their date of birth. It's like a painting, just a rough sketch. You'd be like, oh, they're generally like this and like that. But of course, you have your moon sign, your ascendant sign, blah, blah, blah. And then just in general, the position of the planets, or something like that, or I guess some people say astrological bodies or star body. I don't know. Who really knows? And then I start to think, we really live in a village. Like I was watching Sergei Bakakov this morning. He did a live this morning from Surgut, which is crazy because last year I was really considering going to Surgut, and I wound up going to Kirov and just staying in Kirov. But I was gonna go to Surgut and Kirov, and I was gonna stay there. But I wound up staying in Kirov. So looking at so anyway, somebody in the comments, I'm in such a foul mood, you know what I mean? But I have such a pet peeve for like certain comments, like Western comments. I'm honestly so fed up with Westerners, and especially Americans in a way. But then at the same time, it's such a paradox. Everything in life is like so paradoxical, because you want to say one thing, but everything has its opposite as well. But like, when you look at a city like Kirov or Surgut, right? You look at like oh, it was founded on this date or it started on this date. And then you look at like cities in the US, founded in the 1800s, whatever, blah blah blah, which is such a fucking lie, you know what I mean? And if you disagree, whoever the hell is watching this, I'm almost gonna stop responding to comments because I don't know, I'm just, you know, I don't know, I just, but I know most people that watch this kind of thing, and Russians are open to these kind of spiritual, I guess if you want to call it, ideas, which ultimately it is kind of spiritual. But yeah, the whole idea that, especially now with the internet, with all this new information that we have about the world, it's crazy for me to think that when I was a kid, you know, because when you're a kid you don't know anything, I would read all these English literature books that were all based basically in the 19th century. You know, all these books, like, Russians love British English, so I'm sure they know all about these type of books, like Charlotte Bronte, Wuthering Heights, like, oh, we go over there and we have a tea time. We meet in the drawing room, and they call it the drawing room or whatever. So, and to think like that, like, what happened before that? Like, before the 19th century, and that these places were found, to think that our history goes back only that far is so ridiculous. So I know I'm talking too much, but it goes back to, like, so Sergei Baklikov is walking around Surgut, and it's just obvious to see that Russia is such an exemplary society. Look at the snow people. It's so exemplary, and I was just thinking, I'm so thankful that Russians really train their people extremely well. And that comes down to, all the way down to grade school, from when a child is, when the people are children. They train them how to behave in a society. But it's clear to see that we're clearly operating in the most artificial of organizations. You have to see that all this is some kind of artificial construct, society itself. Granted, if you had to pick between a bunch of different options, I love this one because everyone is so orderly and they have a certain understanding. But if you just look at like something natural, it's way more chaotic than this. It would be way more chaotic, and the way people behave and act is so, like, trained in you, right? So I'm happy that I get to live here, and I'm happy that I'm a part of this society, because it's really, in my opinion, truly the best. And one of the comments, because I'm in such a bad mood, I'm so sorry guys, I know I'm in such a bad mood. Hopefully by the time I get done walking I'll be in a better mood. But one of the stupid typical, like, Westerner comments is like, look, they all have modern cars over there. You know what I mean? They all have modern cars over there. And it's just like, yeah, like, that just shows you that the normal Western mind cannot ever wrap their heads around a place like Russia. And I'm really happy about that. That's a fact. I'm not going to title this in any way to gear it towards any kind of political people, because it's not a political thing, okay? This is for my spiritual people with the common fucking sense, a natural brain, not a fucking retarded political brain. It's a natural thing based on how you're brought up. But the normal dumbass Western mind cannot wrap their heads about Russia. For you to say, and this, because it's a common thing for people to say, oh, like, they're just people too. They're just people too. Which is just some of the most retardedest shit you could ever, like, seriously say. Like, well, obviously they're just people too. And it's like, oh, they have modern cars. It's like, dude, how? Like, what planet are you like? So, yeah. So I'll spin it in a good way that it's a good thing that the Western mind cannot wrap their heads around a place like Russia. That means hardly any Westerners are here, which is amazing and it's awesome for a person like me, because I get to enjoy it all to myself. But Russia is a beautiful, beautiful place. So one of the best things about being in Russia for me is I get to unplug from all the stupid shit that you watch on the news and all that stuff. Even though in the hostel they be watching the news, so I like to, what do you call it, fraternize with the hostel people, because I want to be closer to Russians. So I will, like, pour myself a chai and, like, watch the news with them. But obviously the whole thing is a joke. I mean, if you can't see it's a joke, then, you know, we're not we don't see things the same way at all. But I was also listening to one of my favorite YouTube channels. The guy is a genius. He only has like 500 subscribers, but he like really gets it, you know. But even that is a paradox as well. Like I say, like, all of reality is essentially a paradox that you really can't escape, because you're not meant to escape it. That's why like we have questions that we can't answer, because they're not meant to be answered and they're never going to be answered. But he's like, yo, what's it what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, well, you know, I don't know. It's just like you get to unplug from the news here, but even in the school, it's like there's some random French Israeli guy who's like from Morocco or some shit. I don't know, but he's my classmate, and we were in a break, and he's like speaking French in the break, and it's so annoying. Not to be a hater, but like, I don't like French language. I think it's really annoying and ugly. I'm sure a lot of like Russians disagree, but we go in the break, bro. We have like a small break, and we go into the hall together, into the little room, and it's like kind of uncomfortable. I don't know, it's kind of awkward. Like, we don't really have good chemistry, so it is what it is. But like, they're talking about like the news or whatever, some news in France about some guy got killed or some president got elected. And it's like, I don't know what puts it in people's brains to care about this irrelevant bullshit, but it's like unbelievable to me. It's really surprising. Even people that are like in Russia, you know, like, you come to Russia, clearly you go against the grain, against what, like, you know, it's not something normal that the average person would do. But still, you're stuck in some kind of like, why would you care about some irrelevant news about that's going on in your country? Like, can't you see that it doesn't fucking matter? But so, like, the French guy, the other French guy, he's like showing me the phone. He's like, yeah, some president got elected. And I'm like, why are you showing me this? Like, so I think it's just a thing that people are bred. They're somewhat you know, like they're told, well, to be a well-rounded individual, you need to know about current events, right? But you could be intelligent, but really just not think for yourself. So you'll fall into that kind of current event trap. So they're like skimming the news, you know. What do you do in the morning? Oh, well, first thing I do is I turn on the TV and I watch the news to make sure I know what's going on in the world. It's like, you gotta be joking. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Imagine waking up in the morning and the first thing you do is listen to what these fucking people are lying to you about and trying to scare you about, and making sure that you're focused on this stupid shit, right? That's the first thing you're gonna do in the morning. When the first thing you should be doing in the morning is quieting your mind, meditating on your life and what you're doing with your life, and designing your day, things like that. Now, I'm really dumb and I'm really slow, so most people can watch the news and also do the second thing. They manage to juggle all the stuff, but for me, I can't. If I watched the news, it would throw off my entire day. It would really piss me off. Granted, I like watching the news because I get to listen to Russian more. But yeah, those are the things that I was thinking about today. I had so many topics that I wanted to just talk shit about, and I know nobody cares. Nobody in real life cares what I have to say. For some reason, only on YouTube people actually like watch, which I think is so funny. Like, not a lot of people, but some people do watch and they do comment. So, but in reality, it's not really like that. So yeah, I totally walked past that park that I was supposed to check out, but I'm gonna check it out on my way back. It's really cold. I've been wanting to go to Kanarski Island, but I don't know, for some reason it's like I'm not getting the urge to go there, even though I know it got recommended, but I'm just not feeling it. So at the end of the day, I'm just gonna do what I want anyways. If I have one message for anyone who has half a chance at not being some normie loser, is you design your life. You get to create whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, we live in a society, so you kind of have to like deal with that, but and it's good. It's good to live in an organized society, especially in Russia. Russia has such a well-organized society. It's really nice, but like sometimes I feel like I'm like a tortured individual. I feel sometimes really, really bad because I just feel like I don't fit in anywhere. And then I feel like I love Russia so much and I want to give so much back to Russia. But it's like at the end of the day, you have to be yourself too, right? I love that door and the color and the handle of that door. Russia has been the biggest blessing to me. It's so cool. Such a cool place, man. But ultimately, I'm always thinking about the paradoxes of life. It's so interesting how literally most things in life are a paradox. So there's not like one pure, like this is this, like, and it's like it's a pure alignment, a pure line all the way through, that everything lines up like a mathematical equation. No, everything is a paradox. And life is seriously like, it's always a balance that's getting imbalanced. It feels like I can never stay comfortable for too long. Something's always throwing off the balance, and then you have to like realign, and things are always shifting, and you know what I mean? Like you feel good one day and then the next day it's like you feel terrible, and it's like, what the hell is going on? I think I need to study astrology more, and I've tried studying astrology and it only confuses me more. So I think that even that is not that's kind of its own little trap of a rabbit hole. I think a lot of things are just mysterious. There's a lot of forces at play that we don't really understand with the human mind. But I'm so thankful for Russia. I love Russia so much. Russian people are some of the coolest, like, most interesting people ever. And I was thinking also, like, most Russian girls, you could pretty much take them off the street, put some makeup on them, and put them in the cover of a magazine. Most Russian girls can basically be like part-time models. They're just beautiful creatures, to be honest. And yeah, I'm just happy to be away. Oh, I want to say one last thing. I've been getting recommended videos about like narcissists and how to like no contact narcissists. And if you want to escape the West for, like, you know, I'm thinking of one specific guy, the guy from Florida who's moving to Russia. He's like super American, you know what I mean? He's like so like just like an American guy now, living in Florida, you know, shopping it. He did a video about Costco. And I was just like, man, if you want to get away from that, it's like so crazy how ugly America is, you know what I mean? Like, for real, like, if you want to get away from that, you just gotta leave, bro. Just not even turn back. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah, bro. Literally, do not turn back. Do not look back there. Just walk away. There's no fighting now. Anyway, we're here. We did our little walk. I feel a little better.